Good morning, everyone. Appreciate everybody being here at our January 23rd, 2024 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. This is a regular scheduled meeting here at 239 West Main Street, Richmond, Kentucky, in the Richmond City Commission chambers. I want to thank Richmond City Commission for allowing us to use their chambers while the courthouse is under construction. This time I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, please call the roll.
Master Combs. Here. Master Lockmiller. Here. Master Hughes. Here. Master Buchan. Present. Judge Taylor.
Here, sorry. I didn't realize how hard it'd be able to talk with a mint in your mouth, so we're going to spit it out. At this time, I'd like to invite my friend Brandon Robbins from Revival House Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Brandon, appreciate you being here today.
If everybody would either bow your head, if you would like to stand, stand, but if you just bow your head and just say, Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you, God. We thank you, Jesus, Lord, that through you we have salvation and eternal life above all things, God. But in this fiscal court session, God, Lord, I ask that every decision made going forward, God, Lord, not only honor you, God, but Lord, give us wisdom, direction, and guidance for every decision made here today, God, Lord, that the old adage, what would you do, Jesus, Lord, that we would do what you would do, Lord, in this courtroom, Jesus, Lord, we thank you, God. We thank you, Lord, going forward. And I seen that disaster, the disaster rescue or something to do with disaster rescuing is going on in decision making today, God. Lord, I ask that Madison County not only be a help, be a beacon for those that are going through disaster, God, Lord Jesus, Lord, we don't know what's coming sometimes, God, Lord, but we know that you hold it all in your hand, God, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for this session, God, Lord, in every decision, and none of these decisions are above or below any other, God, but Lord, I ask, Lord, that you put your hand on every decision made here today, God, every person here, God, Lord, and going forth and going forward in you, in Jesus' name. And amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Brandon.
Yes.
Sheriff, if you will, lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thanks, Sheriff. Next is our treasurer's report. Next is approval of our meeting minutes. This was our January the 9th, 2024 Madison County Fiscal Court minutes. Members of the court, you all have had a chance to review them. I need a motion to second to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Master Lockmiller.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Buchan.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next is our treasurer's report. How are you doing, Sarah?
Great. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you. As of December 31st, 2023, our total fund budget was $40,355,957.12. Our general fund had revenues of 61.47%, expenditures at 23.67%. The road fund revenues 53.88%, expenditures 55.22%. Our jail fund had 54.38 in revenues, 41.97 in expenditures. LGEA fund had 53.01% in revenues and 1.82 in expenditures. Our CSEP fund had 19.62% in revenues and 18.94 in expenditures. Our 911 fund was at 53.46% in revenues, 39.83% in expenditures, and our health fund at 43% in revenues and 26.64% in expenditures.
Sarah, what was the jail? Can you read the jail again, please?
Yes, 54.38% in revenues and 41.97 in expenditures.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions for Sarah on our financial report? Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. All right, next, the first order of business today is the first reading of ordinance 2024-01. This is the Madison County and Shelby County interlocal agreement for data center services. Again, this will be a first reading. Chris?
Good morning. Ordinance 2024-01, an ordinance relating to an interlocal agreement between the Madison County Fiscal Court and the Shelby County Fiscal Court for the use of the Kentucky County's government cloud. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to offer data center services to Kentucky counties to promote regionalism, providing secure, reliable, and cost-effective data center access. And whereas the intention of the Madison County Fiscal Court is to provide data center services known as the Kentucky Counties Government Cloud. And whereas under the Interlocal Cooperation Act set forth in KRS 65.210 to 65.300, any powers, privileges, or authority capable of being exercised by a local government may be exercised jointly with one or more local government entities under a cooperation agreement allowing joint and cooperative action. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has a facility that meets the specifications of a Tier 3 data center by providing 99.982% availability, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court facility has the appropriate power requirements, cooling requirements, technological infrastructure, technical staff to operate a data center, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court will charge for the services at the rates listed in the bill of services signed by both entities. Now, therefore, in consideration of the premises and mutual covenants set forth herein, the parties hereto agree with each other as the follow. Subject to the approval of the Kentucky Department of Local Government, this agreement shall become effective on the date listed on the sign and signature page. This agreement shall be in full force and effect for a period of 12 months from the date listed on the signature page, and shall automatically be renewed for a subsequent term unless a party to this agreement provides written notice of the intent to terminate at least 60 days prior to the automatic renewal date. The purpose of the agreement is created for the purpose of offering data center services to Kentucky county governments to promote regionalism by providing secure, reliable, and cost-effective data center access that meets the cybersecurity needs of local governments. We will summarize Article 3. It's a bunch of definitions about cloud computing. Section 4 is maintenance notifications, how we notify the customers of any type of work we're doing on the system. Article 5 is the cost of data center services. Madison County Fiscal Court will invoice the member monthly for the systems hosted in the KCGC. Members will be billed in accordance with the executed bill of services that will be signed by each entity, and a new bill of services will be executed by both entities as services are added, removed, or upgraded. Article 6 talks about disaster recovery. Systems hosted in the KCGC will have two forms of disaster recovery. The first form is local snapshots that are stored in the primary data center on primary hardware. Local snapshots allow for the individual file recovery and bare metal machine recovery in the event of a user error or system corruption. This is a lot. The second form of disaster recovery is offsite snapshot replication and bare metal replication. Provides disaster recovery in the event of a catastrophic event where the primary data center is unavailable or destroyed. Systems hosted in the KCGC can have files recovered, or systems can be run from the disaster recovery site in a reduced capacity for mission-critical systems as resources are available. Article 7 is licenses. Only licenses provided to the member through the agreement are the Microsoft server licenses associated with each guest virtual machine. The member must purchase all of the Microsoft licenses as a one-time purchase from the Madison County Fiscal Court. And Section 8 is limitation of liability. If there is a breach to a member system hosted by Madison County offered as Kentucky County's Government Cloud Services, Madison County will make all reasonable efforts to restore data and services from backup and restore all service operations as quickly as possible. If data loss is incurred in the event of a breach and the backups fail, Madison County will make all reasonable efforts to help restore services and assist in any manner feasible to restore the data. In the event of a complete failure to restore data and all services, all costs associated with the restoration of data from other sources will become the cost of the member's cybersecurity insurance. Damages related to claims based on a breach of its obligations set forth in this document, Madison County's liability under the agreement shall in no event exceed the Madison County service fees paid by member county for the Madison County service during a 12-month period preceding the event that resulted in such a claim. Neither party shall be liable for incidental, special, consequential, or punitive damages, including but not limited to damages for loss of inaccuracy of data, loss of profits or revenue, business interruption, or any damages that are related to either party's unauthorized use, the distribution, or disclosure of the other party's intellectual property. Get close, I swear. Termination of the agreement by either party must be provided in writing at least 60 days prior to the automatic renewal date. In the event of termination by either party, Madison County Fiscal Court will provide the member with a final copy of the data housed in the KCGC or a full bare metal copy of the virtual machine. Madison County Fiscal Court will not aid in reconfiguring, converting, or copying data to new systems. The member shall be responsible for providing storage needed to be used to provide final copies of the data or a full bare metal copy of the virtual machine. In the event of a termination, the agreement of the Madison County Fiscal Court will transfer the purchased licenses to the member. Now, therefore, be ordered by the Fiscal Court of County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that it is hereby approved to enter into an interlocal agreement for data center services between Madison County Fiscal Court and Shelby County Fiscal Court. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption.
Breathe.
Whew!
Breathe.
Motion approved 2024.
Or do you have to read it?
Second.
I don't want to read
I
it.
have a motion and a
Gotta do that
second
again.
to approve first reading of ordinance 2024-01. Any discussion?
Chris,
Yes, sir.
for another county that has services through this cooperation agreement with the counties, if they were to go outside, how much more would they pay than what they're paying us?
So the last time we ran the numbers, Google Data Center and Microsoft Data Center was double the cost
Okay,
of what we
And-
provided.
okay. So it's a good deal for them, but it's also a good deal to have partners in this so that the center can continue to prosper. What do we anticipate under the current capital level that our capacity would be as far as holding other counties, hosting other counties?
So your current capacity is getting pretty full. Scott County has a whole, everything Scott County uses is here, and it is actually really quite a bit. This particular agreement is actually from the sale of the Trax platform, so we are selling that platform to other governments as well. Shelby County actually bought in and bought all the modules except for one. So what they're putting in the cloud is just one server, which is the Trax application server. Scott County has everything in there. We just got word on Monday, or maybe it was Friday, that 3 other entities have received the state and local cybersecurity grant money to come in. It was like Rowan County, can't remember, Estill County, and somebody else. We'll have to purchase resources. But to this point, and the judge and I are going to go do some revenue and make sure we're online here. But I think our original capital expenditure was $23,000, and we've been making $40,000 a year. So from a capital and being able to buy another node, you know, a node is about $20,000 to add it in there. And a node could probably get you anywhere from 30 to 40 servers that'll host. So it really is a loaded question because it depends on who comes. Estill County has like 5 people that use a computer in one server. Scott County is the exact opposite. They have 13 servers and 90 desktops they're going to put in there. So they, you know, for me to be able to say, yeah, you could take 12 counties, I really don't know. But basically an average county that's got, you know, 15 or 20 employees, we could take a whole bunch of those. And really the beauty of it is you just buy the node and you throw it in, you've got the resources at hand.
But the capacity of our server room, though,
Oh, yeah.
can accommodate.
Yep. Especially with CSEP reducing their footprint in that building in 2025, we've got rack space upon rack space.
As we spend capital, are we going to get capital infusion from anybody else? Or are we going to put the capital in ourselves, but then make sure we have the proper return on our billings to the counties so that we?
Correct.
I mean, we obviously we're funding this.
Yep.
But it needs to be at not zero.
It's a revenue generation.
Bingo, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'm not asking you to tell me what, but I just wanted to hear what your answer was.
And it is my intention next year to actually apply for state and local cybersecurity money to see if I can get some of that, since we're providing the counties are getting that money to come into and use our service and have it paid for through the grant, but we're not getting any money to provide the service. So next year I plan to write a grant to ask them to provide some hardware into it to help bolster it.
Well, and based upon your comment, I mean, it's a good deal for the counties.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very opportunistic because of our situation here in Madison County that we're able to do this and make it into a revenue generator. So kudos to you.
Thank you, sir.
And that's the whole mindset behind it is CSEP funding is going away, that we have opportunities to create revenues to sort of help offset that long term. So that's the concept.
A couple of contracts that go for Scott, not Scott, I've got Scott on the brain, sorry. A couple of contracts go, Chris. I asked you to add some language and clarify some things, and I saw that those were in this, so I appreciate that. And I'm sure, again, that you pointed out to them that which KCO's done a really good job educating counties and their IT now that they know that they're going to have some type of cybersecurity insurance.
Yep.
So I'm glad that's in here. Thank you.
Keiko's doing a fabulous job of pushing that forward and explaining it to counties, because most of them that come to us, that's why. Keiko said, I have to do this. And they said, this is the easiest way. Yes. So it's really good for them to be pushing it, because it really is something that needs to be taken care of.
It's going to become really important as the future comes along. You know, we hear of cyber attacks going on all over the country, and a lot of those attacks are happening to government agencies.
Yep.
So, you know, that's one thing that I would just ask as we go forward, is that you continue to stay on top of the cybersecurity and make sure that we're as fully as we can be. I mean, I know you can't count for everything, but
We are invested heavily. We spend quite a bit of money every year to provide the tools to the employees that do that. We reach out with tools, to employees like, hey, the judge got a message, and we look back, it's like, hey, wait a minute, that's going to a lot of people. So we reach out because that's really where it's going to come from. Your biggest threat's going to be your employee. Not that it's intentional. It's probably most likely unintentional access to something that they didn't realize. Even Ryan got a direct deposit change request from me, and he's like, what are you asking me for? So it's really being the vigilance on the employee. And our employees do go through cybersecurity and training as well. So, I think we're in pretty good shape. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you got to be prepared to respond to that. We are.
Well, you think that it can't happen here.
It will.
But the fact is that one of our local companies here in Madison County was hit.
Yep.
And I mean, locked up hit. And it really cost them a lot of money to get their operations back. So it can happen.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? We do have a first and a second on ordinance 2024-01. Hearing nothing, call the roll.
Master Lockmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
And for any citizen that would like to make a public comment, please feel free to email the comments to comments@madisoncountyky.gov. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.gov under the Transparency tab. So anybody that's interested in this ordinance, the second reading will be a public hearing for those that want to come and voice any kind of concern or anything. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2024-04. This is an ASAP harm reduction grant application for fiscal year 25. Sarah.
A resolution confirming the Madison County Fiscal Court to serve as the applicant agent for the fiscal year 25 ASAP harm reduction grant and authorizing the judge executive to sign on behalf of the county. Whereas the Madison County Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, ASAP Board, wishes to apply for the fiscal year 25 ASAP harm reduction grant through the Kentucky ASAP. And whereas the ASAP Board needs a local government to serve as its applicant agent, and whereas the fiscal court finds it to be the public interest to continue to address our drug epidemic through education and awareness. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to serve as the applicant agent and authorizes the judge, executive, and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Sarah. Y'all heard Resolution 2024-04. What's the pleasure of the court?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We do have Laura Nagel here. Laura's the treasurer for the ASAP board. So any kind of questions, technical questions y'all may have, Laura is here. Appreciate you being here, Laura.
Yeah, thank you, Laura, for looking at this, for being here and presenting this to us. The majority of the money, of course, goes to Narcan or things associated with Narcan. And, of course, we know that saves a lot of lives. And I'm happy that we can help these organizations out with that.
So harm reduction, like you all know, that's the bridge from people that are out there. You can't recover if you're not alive, and so keeping people alive. And so what we tend to do with the harm reduction grant is focus on the agencies and the people that are already out there on the streets, finding the people that are invisible to a lot of us. I'll be here in about 3 weeks for our general ASAP grant, which includes prevention, education, treatment, all of that. So this is specifically harm reduction.
Any other questions? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Bucking?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmiller?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you, Laura. Thanks, Sarah. Next, Resolution 2024-04. This is the mowing services bid award. Scott.
Resolution 2024-05, a resolution for the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve a bid award for mowing services. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bids in accordance with the administrative code, and whereas the bids were required for mowing services of various public properties, including parks, recreational areas, and government-owned facilities, and whereas the bid was properly posted, and whereas one bid was received and has been opened and reviewed, and whereas the Madison County Road Department recommends awarding the bid to Rogers Lawn and Landscape LLC for mowing services in the amount of $28,985 for calendar year 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to negotiate and execute contracts on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Scott. Y'all heard Resolution 2024-04. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
How many bids did you get?
One.
Just one?
This is the same contractor that actually done the mowing last year. We were all very satisfied with them.
Yeah. I thought the prices for each incident looked very reasonable to
Yep.
me.
Yeah, when we decided to do this last year, I mean, when we got into digging into it, it was, we were short manpower and having the manpower to be able to keep up with it. And when we ran the numbers and then we got the bids back, I mean, it saves us a lot of money
Yeah, yeah.
versus us trying to do it ourselves.
I had asked Scott Judge on the one piece that I didn't see on there was wheel green. And so that the rest of you all know, it takes some special equipment to mow that dam out there and to take care of that. So that's
Yeah,
the
that'd be
reason it's not
road
on there.
department doing that, yeah.
Scott, you had somebody mowing Whitehall last year too that's probably glad to get rid of, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just did it once. Just because I
But
wanted to see.
I mean, people don't understand how much time it takes to mow that much, property and all over the county. I mean, it's a big job.
Yeah, Whitehall Park's a two and a half day job.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Buchan,
Yes.
Commissioner Combs?
Yes.
Commissioner Lockmuller?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, next is Resolution 2024-06. This is the newspaper of record for required advertising. Jill.
Good morning. This is a resolution approving the newspaper of record for required advertising, whereas pursuant on KRS 424.145, alternative internet and newspaper publication procedures for local governments are permissible. And whereas beginning January 1st, 2024, in lieu of newspaper publication, Madison County Fiscal Court began posting any and all public notices and public hearings, as well as any and all bids, requests for proposals, requests for quotes, or specifications on their website at www.madisoncountyky.gov/public notices. All items are available for viewing at 135 West Irvin Street, Suite 300, Richmond, Kentucky, and by calling 859-624-4700. Whereas in conjunction with an alternative internet posting, Madison County Fiscal Court published a newspaper advertisement in the Richmond Register and the Berea Citizen newspapers, providing citizens with public notice of this change. Whereas in addition to internet postings, some advertisements are still required to be published in the newspaper, having the largest bona fide paid circulations as outlined in KRS 424.120. And whereas the Richmond Register mistakenly sent incorrect data when they filed their published statement of ownership on October 1st, 2023. And whereas the Richmond Register and the Berea Citizen acknowledged the error, which means the Richmond Register is the largest bona fide paid circulation for their publication area for required newspaper advertisements to be published. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Jill. You all heard Resolution 2024-06. What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What was the mistake?
The circulation number was mistakenly interchanged with one of the other newspapers that is owned by the same company as the Richmond Register. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was actually the Corbin paper's numbers were published as the Richmond Register's, and vice versa. Yeah. And so they obviously caught that mistake, acknowledged that mistake, made us aware, and we actually, this doesn't happen very often, and so we had to even seek, Rich Ornstein actually advised us to make sure that we did it and acknowledge the changes, because I think in your packet you actually have the statement of ownership and stuff as they've been reviewed, or revised, I should say.
There for a while, we thought that the Berea Citizen had surpassed the Richmond Register.
Yeah.
That's what but
Yeah.
it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been any more conversation, I think, in times past in the legislature about going online
There is, and some of the statute that's outlined in here is the alternative internet posting, and so there are certain things that can be posted that way, and then certain things that are still required to be in the paper. For counties over 80,000, there is even more latitude in posting those things and making them available online through your website, as long as they're easily available. And so, as you all probably all know, because I'm sure you search all the time, on the top right-hand corner, there's a big megaphone that says public notices that makes that on our homepage so that any and all citizens can look for those public notices at all times.
You know, a lot of counties, they're losing their local newspapers. We have two, and of course, Berea comes out once a week, and Richmond's 3 days a week, so they're not as robust as they used to be, but we still have them, and I'm thankful for them.
I think some of the legislation too was geared around counties that don't have a paper at all, that have to use outside resources in other counties for their notifications, which wouldn't make any sense to put a notification in a county, you know, next to you or wherever. Nobody really is going to pay attention to that, so.
Right. I think the legislation, the goal is to make the public aware, and what ways you do that to make sure the largest number of people are aware of a public notice.
I was just curious, Judge, did their overall number include their online sales as well?
It does, and if you look at the statement of ownership, I've had to learn a little bit about this, but I am by far not an expert. But if you look at their statement of ownership, there's a column with their paid circulation number, and that is what their overall, but online is a component of that, but it's not, it doesn't stand alone, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I'm only asking because there's, you know, on both of them, there's a difference between the number of copies and the total distributions paid. So, you know, and those numbers, when you get to looking at them, it's a little bit confusing on that, on actually who is got the largest. So I was just curious on how they figured out they're all total distribution.
Well, they send those numbers into the state, and the state is who puts those back out to us, so.
Yeah. So they publish that statement of ownership, and it's certified from their publication. They actually publish it in the paper.
I was really surprised to see that I didn't know this, that the register was owned by an LLC in Alabama. Had no idea.
And I don't know, Spencer may know this, since he's here, he may know the answer to this, but I think they own 30-something papers. Does that sound right? Sure. If you're here, we're going to put you on the spot. You always put us on the spot, right?
Yeah, just push the little black square, kind of, yeah.
There you go.
I know this much. So CNHI owns 90 different newspapers across 20 plus states, and along with Richmond, they own Corbin Paper and Commonwealth Journal, which is in Somerset. They own 3 or 4 other papers just like within an hour's drive of here. So there's a lot, especially for just the model that this company has in particular.
And they've been owned by that group for 20 plus years at least. I mean, since I was in college.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Spencer. Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmuller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Buchan?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes,
I can ask one more question, Judge.
sure.
I'm sorry, but to deal with this is the first time that I remember us having to prove a resolution on this topic.
It is.
Was there a reason for that? Why didn't we do it in the past?
Well, because Richmond Register was always the highest circulation based off the numbers, and with the confusion, see, we changed because of the October 1st numbers that came out.
Right.
And so in the confusion, we had changed to Berea.
I see. Okay.
And so now that the confusion's kind of settled, now we're going back to the Richmond Register.
All right.
Is that a good enough?
Yes, and it was
Well
just
enough said.
recommended just to be transparent
Yeah.
that there was a change, and then with the revised numbers, it then reverted us back. And so that it just allowed everybody to understand and know that it was a mistake that had happened on their filing that caused the change to start with. So it is not something that's ever come to court before. I mean, it can each October if we wanted it to, but it's not necessary. I think our counsel would tell us that it's not necessary. I think that this was just us going above and beyond to be transparent about that.
I'm just
And
curious.
taking advice from Rich.
Yeah.
Who caught that? State catch that? Who caught the mistake?
No, the Richmond Register
They did? Okay.
caught the
Good deal.
mistake, and in talking with the Berea Citizen, they were surprised with the numbers that came out, and so everybody kind of knew. And so we've had a lot of conversations. I've had great conversations, and I'm so grateful for the Berea Citizen and Keith at the in Berea through this process, as well as with Mark at the Richmond Register, to help explain the numbers to us. And they actually gave us circulation reports and everything just to make sure that we all knew that we were doing the right thing by our citizens, which was ultimately our goal.
Thank you.
Following the law. Yeah. All right, thank you. Next, Resolution 2024-07. This is the Big Hill Avenue Tower Option and Lease Agreement, Fifth Amendment. A resolution approving a Fifth Amendment to the Big Hill Avenue Tower Option and Lease Agreement between Madison County, Kentucky and New Singular Wireless PCS LLC. Whereas Madison County, Kentucky, the landlord, and the New Singular Wireless PSC LLC, the tenant, by AT&T Mobility Corporation, its manager, wish to amend the lease agreement for the tower site located at 353 Big Hill Avenue, Richmond, Kentucky. And whereas the landlord and tenant entered into the tower option lease agreement dated May 1st, 2002 with amendments as follows. First amendment dated March 13th, 2006. Second amendment dated January 29th, 2015. Third amendment dated April 25th, 2017. Fourth amendment dated September 25th, 2018. Whereas the landlord and tenant agreed to the terms and specifications set forth in the Fifth Amendment, with all other terms and conditions of the tower option and lease agreement remaining the same, which are attached hereto this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and or his designee to negotiate and execute contracts on behalf of the county.
Motion approved resolution 2024-07, Judge.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2024-07.
This one.
Any discussion?
This one is because they're adding new equipment to the tower, is that correct?
Yes, there is. Yeah, and anytime that they are going to be doing something to the tower, it's an opportunity for me to be able to sort of renegotiate, get some additional funds for the county if you can get them to agree. And so this particular one was able to do that. Also get a 2% annual automatic rent increase as well. You saw that in there. I think right now we're getting about $1,400. I think we're getting about $1,400, maybe a little over $1,400 a month. Yeah, $1,450 a month right now. So
Getting ready to go to 28.
yeah, going to 28. And it's really not put any low capacity. So when they come in and they're wanting to do that, we require them to get a structural analysis. Vertical Structural Systems is our local company that does a lot of that. They're actually the ones that built the tower for the county years ago. And so it's really not putting any additional load or anything on the tower. Any other questions, comments?
Just appreciate your work, and I'm sure Jill and everybody in the office worked on this, making sure the counties gets their part.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Call the roll.
Master Lockmuller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Bocken?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2024-08. This is the proposed discontinuance of county road maintenance. Scott?
Resolution 2024-08, a resolution approving the proposed discontinuance of county road maintenance. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the maintenance of Madison County roadways, and whereas KRS 178070 outlines the process a county uses for discontinuance of county roadway maintenance, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court proposes to remove the following roads without public purpose from the county road maintenance system: Bethel Branch Spur, Buffalo Road, Hayden Heights gravel section, Hoodville Lane, Jackson Branch Road, gravel section / creek bed, Old Doyle'sville Loop. Whereas the Madison County Road Department has assessed all county roads, and this list of roads was recommended by both the road assessment and independent road commissioners on their reviews. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive and/or his designees to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Scott. Y'all heard Resolution 2024-08. What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second it because I want discussion on it, Judge.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Let's open it up for discussion. Tom?
So I would like to hear from the property owners involved in the two road closures on Hayden Heights. That property owner here? Would you care to come up to the microphone, please?
And this was a request upon the property owners from Hayden Heights.
My name's Billy Dargavel. The property in question is Hayden Heights, a gravel road. Just for clarification, everybody knows where Hayden Heights is. You go up Main Street, turn left on Tates Creek, down to Maple Grove. You turn right on Hayden Heights, and you go down to the gravel road. You go across the cattle guard, and that's 600 Hayden Heights. Me and my father, which he's here today, we own it jointly. There's other properties back there. There's also 1050 Hayden Heights. My dad and my brother, they're sitting here. They own that. There's also a couple access gates. It accesses 171 Whitlock Road. We own that too. It accesses 191 Whitlock Road. There's an access gate there. It also accesses another property back there, which Steve Vissio owns that. We're having a lot of problems down there. That's one of the reasons why we asked for this. In the last 15 months, we're having hunters come down without permission. We're having to call police, having them leave. We've lost 2 cows. One of them was shot in the head. One of them was shot with a bow and arrow. The arrow's still in it. We've had to call the police. We've got 2 mobile homes there nobody lives in. Somebody stole all the copper out of it. In the last 15 months, we've had at least 3 different occasions where cars has come up there. They've got stuck in the ditch that goes up to our property. And everybody knows about August. You know, the sorority people had it. We had over 200 cars that literally gridlocked our road. They went down to Jigwater. The sheriff was called. Y'all towed away. I know y'all know all about that. That's when we decided to move on this and ask for this to be stopped. Now, when you go across the Blacktop Road, there's a cattle guard. And when you go into several of those different properties, there's cattle guards all the way up through there because we're wanting to discontinue the maintenance so we can put up a gate. That's what we're asking for. Now, the gate, of course, that's one way to solve a problem that we've got. But there's also pros and cons with the gates. And, you know, the pros is you keep people out that don't have a business in there. Now, I called the RECC, I called the cable company, I called the water company, and I said, now let me ask you a question. I said, what if we put up a gate? What if we lock it? How do you guys get in? And the same answer was for all 3 of them. They have their own gates. Everybody has their own keys. They've got master keys. All the contractors can come and go. So that would be, if we lock the gate, everybody has access, can put their own gate. But then it's got a con with it. You've got a gate up there. You come down the road. You've got to open it in the rain. You open it in the snow. Ain't nobody wants to open a stinking gate, come and go and pulling trailers. So I researched and I said, what's my options here? And I come up with another option. You know, they have electric gates. They're inexpensive. If y'all discontinue the road, as the landowner, I am going to purchase one. It's got a kiosk. You run up, you punch a button. The gate opens up itself. You drive through. It's got a laser. You break the laser. It closes. On the way out, you do nothing. You hit the laser and it opens up. And I know by you discontinuing the road, you know, we're not going to get no gravel down through there. Now, you guys don't grade that road every time we have a problem. I do. Okay? We only call you all when we have to have you all. Y'all come down, y'all do a good job. And there's been several trees in the last 15 months road cut down, and I've cut them down myself. We just had one 2 weeks ago down the road. We cut it out. Chris Hornsby's the neighbor. He brought his tractor down. We cleared the road, and a couple of days later, another neighbor and me hooked a chain to it and drug it out of the road. And there's still several trees from past that we pushed them out of the road. And if y'all discontinue, I'm going to take care of those and clean the place up. Now, we're not trying to be mean, and we're not trying to stop somebody from coming through, nothing like that. The only reason we're asking for access to this road and maintenance is for a secure gate to keep the riffraff out. That's all we're asking for. And if there's a problem, I'm sure there can be a solution, just like putting an electric gate up versus a gate with locks. Just think about it. Who wants to get out in the rain and unlock the lock? The electric gate's it. Now, I know if you do this, I'll probably have to purchase a load of rock or two, to keep the road up. And I have no problem with that, because whatever it costs me to buy the load of rock outweighs what we're doing. Liz Hornsby, she's not here. She picked up a Walmart bag of needles and beer cans and beer bottles on y'all's road. Now, this road, when you go in Hayden Heights and you go across the cattle guard, it's not no great big stretch of road, okay? It goes down the hill, and me and Scott Shepherd, when I told him we had a problem, we started talking about it. Now, we can go down to the bottom of the hill, and we can do this. But the problem is if we did right off the county road, you guys don't have a place to turn your equipment around. So when you come down the county road, the actual road stops halfway down. But you all always took care of all the way to the cupboard for the simple reason you had access to turn around. And so what we said is, well, we'll put a gate down here, and then Scott Shepherd said, we cannot turn our equipment around. There's a problem with the maintenance. So there's where we're at. We've got a problem. It's not trying to keep people out. It's about security. We got to do something. This problem's going to get bigger. If you go down to the bottom of the hill and you put up a gate, all you're going to do is party central. Jigwater, and everybody knows Jigwater, that they come in our road looking for Jigwater. And there's another problem we got. If you're in Newby and you GPS Lexington, it takes you right straight through our farm. It don't take you down Tate Street. I don't understand that, but it does. So we're having people come in. I'll be up there in the hayfield cutting hay, and look at them. They'll be turning around our hayfield. They're lost. If you had a gate there and it said stop, or you put a stop sign, dead road, end road, whatever, it would help. And that's all I got to say. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mr. Dargell. Steve?
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
You can.
I'll wait.
I was just going to comment one thing, though, and you're not the only one that has an issue. I've had several calls that GPS takes them down Bethel Branch and other, GPS is not working really good. And so that's happening out in that area, not only to yourself, but to other citizens as well. So thank you for your comments.
Mr. Dargavel, would you care just to stay up front here, because I do have another question for you, but I want to hear from Mr. Vesio first. If you just don't need you going back there, just have come back up.
Even if the county closed the road, it's unlikely that it would change the GPS directions.
I know.
Steve, if you care, just state your name.
Yeah,
and
Steve Vesio.
and then your address.
My address, 204 Crimson Drive. I'm a neighbor of the Dargavels.
Hey, let me clarify something. Hey, me and Steve are neighbors. We cut trees together. We fence together. We chase each other's cows together. This isn't a feud.
Most of your cows.
This isn't a feud. He's got his opinion. I got mine.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
We just want y'all
Yeah, I
to
understand that.
I appreciate that. Well, as far as taking care of, I'll tell you, when I first saw the sign, that was last Wednesday, I was a bit surprised, to be honest with you. Not pleasantly surprised, but surprised. At least it was perpendicular, though, so I could see it going down the road. It's a joke. But I've been going down that road for 30-plus years. And before me, I think it goes back to 1912. And I don't understand why you got a perfectly good road with my primary access to my farm that you want to discontinue maintenance. it's, like Billy said, I've graded it myself too. Billy's graded it, his daddy's graded it for many years, to try to keep and save money from the county without calling a grader blade down.
Steve, which road are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Hayden Heights.
Okay.
Thank you. So it behooves me that you'd want to stop maintenance. I haven't seen what he's seen. I go down that road basically every day. I don't know about the needles. I've only seen one van get stuck since I've been down there in the ditch. That's going to happen just about anywhere. I mean, as far as like whether it's a blacktop road, gravel road, or whatever. So I think we need to keep the maintenance up on the road. It's a primary access. The other thing too, if you stop maintenance, and I want to be clear here, this law is not stopping maintenance. It's closing the road. I want to be perfectly clear. And so I guess if you close the road, basically, that and Jackson Branch, I'm landlocked. And that's a concern of mine.
Well, this, just clarification,
Yes,
Steve, this is not closing the road. There's a whole nother process that you got to go through to close the road. This is just stopping maintenance.
Well, yeah, but it's going to lead to closing the road. We all know this. Don't sugarcoat this.
Well, but we can if it landlocks somebody. I mean, just legally, we cannot vote to close the road
Okay.
if it's going to landlock somebody.
Well, you know, it's the way I look at it is that I think Mr. Shepard quoted $75,000 for road maintenance. We got a $4 million budget for road maintenance, and that's pennies on the dollar. And I don't know if it doesn't make sense to me that you would want to close the road. We're not having it. It's been there since 1912. And I know you said you're not closing the road, but now we got to rely on the neighbors, us, how we're going to divvy this up and how we're going to pay for it. And I've always been on the road on my right of ways. I've always been up front and paid for quite a bit of the rock on that. That's no problem. But you know, it seems like we're in a hurry to close all these roads. And I know, you know, it's kind of funny. This road, it should have been blacktopped. They should have gone on and finished blacktopping. They've never had any trouble turning around down at the bottom because they go across, and then the guardrails, they got a place to back up and then turn and get the truck out. You know, it's another thing as a landowner, I don't have to allow gates. You know, they got to get my permission as far as, because I have the right of way through there. So I guess I don't want to get into a bickering match whether it's got locks on it, and then I got people that come down to help me as well on the farming operation, and I got to have them a key. We've been all through this, and in previous discussions, and I just don't want to see the gates back, and don't think they're necessary, especially an automatic gate. I don't know what you know. It's.
Steve, I can understand a little bit of your comment, but after hearing the other gentleman and the problems that he's had with people going on and destroying his farm and tearing up and killing cattle and everything like that, I mean, there would seem to be, to me, he has an issue and you all are neighbors.
Right. Yeah,
Can you not work something out?
Yeah, well, I thought we.
We're not talking about 15 gates. We're talking about one.
Right, I understand.
Yeah,
That's why
Cattle guards all the way up through there.
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to understand
know,
what.
We're going to clean the cattle guards out. They're going to stay. We may move them up the road 10 or 15 foot down regardless. They're going to stay.
You know, I've always been told actually by a member of the police department that you know, just a closed gate just keeps an honest person out. You know, it doesn't keep the riffraff out. And as far as the guy that shot his cattle or the arrow, he had originally had permission to hunt down there, and then they don't know who shot the cattle. They don't got into well. You'd said that, but it was that guy that y'all gave permission, and then when y'all stopped him, Rusty, whatever his name was.
We don't know who shot the cattle.
So I don't know that. I would allow, I think we're going to start a big problem here as far as the gates, because it took years to get, we're allowing, getting the gate off and going to cattle guards. So I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know why we just can't leave it like it is. I'm not seeing what he's talking about. And I'm down there too. So,
I get down there every morning at 8 o'clock, and during hay season, I usually leave at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Mr. Fiscal comes in and gets off work.
It's off work, right?
He's down there. He don't see, he maybe not down there. I'm just telling you what's going on.
I just,
All right, Tom, do you have questions for Steve?
So I only have one question, and my question is to Mr. Dargavel.
Yes, sir.
If we discontinue the maintenance on these roads and you put up a gate,
Yes, sir.
and in time, you'll have to go through a procedure to do that, but you choose to do that and put up a gate,
Yes, sir.
are you intending to allow Mr. Vesio access to his property?
Yes. All he has to do is put his own gate, put his own lock. Or we'll get a kiosk with a number. Okay?
And I'm asking this for a reason.
Yes.
Because I understand that Mr. Vesio's been using that road.
Yes.
But I did some research on this yesterday, and if, matter of fact, I'd just like to say thank you for not shooting me, because I was on those roads with Scott yesterday.
I got cameras. I know who comes in and out.
We were down there yesterday. I wanted to see it firsthand.
Yes.
And by your deeds, your legal access is off of Jackson Branch. That's what I see. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get to it by Mr. Dargavel's, but the issue of landlocking comes up to me. As long as you have access to your property, I'm okay. If you don't have access to your property, that's a
But
different
the Hayden
story.
Heights, I want to be clear on something. The Hayden Heights that is the original access road was Hayden Heights. I got Jackson Branch added later. So it's, if you look at in parcel 3, it's at the very end, there's a section just for that.
There was never a deeded road right there going down Maple Grove. When I was a kid, it stopped up there at Chris Hornsby's, and it went across by the first Dargavel graveyard into his, and that's the way we went. That road was never done. They cut that road out later. Mr. Visio bought his property in 1990.
That's right.
I was born in the 60s. My dad, sitting back there, was born in the 40s. We had to go through a field to get to it. There's several gates up, accessing properties. And when you go across Hayden Heights, every piece of property back there, except for one, is owned by me and my brother.
And they took the gates off because you can't have a gate on a county road. That's why he's wanting the road closed, just so he can put a gate up.
The gate, just one. It's one gate. Now, let me ask Mr. Visio.
Well, then put it down. If you put it down at the bottom of the hill and leave the road alone.
We're getting in the weeds a little bit here, Judge.
Guys,
This issue before the court, gentlemen, is not whether we can put up gates or not. We're just talking about.
I know it's.
I understand, but we don't want to get in the weeds and have a court meeting here that's civil. Understand?
Oh, absolutely.
And so what we're doing today is we're not doing the maintenance now on your all's road. You're doing
we
it.
are.
You are. And so nothing's going to change about that. You're still going to be doing it. Only the county's not going to be taking taxpayer money and spending on that road. And you're going to have access. It's going to be a county right of way, and you're always going to have access.
So
And there's a
you're-
process for you all to go to court and get that land back, if that's what you so desire. But
That's what we are going to see.
so, but from our perspective, is we're not going to spend taxpayer money on a road that's for private access.
So legally, are you telling me that you're all going to put on my deed that I have a right-of-way on the county road?
The right-of-way will remain there, but we're not going to do maintenance on the right-of-way. We have those all over the county.
Right. Well, again, this is the issue of that there's really no reason that this small amount of money for rock, and I don't know why this is such a big deal. Like I said, we do most of the grading, just put a few loads of rock, and then just to say, when I bought this place, well, put it this way, I wouldn't even be here today. I wouldn't have bought this place if I didn't have county access road.
And you will have access.
And the maintenance. I want to be clear on that.
Okay.
You know, it's
But
I wouldn't have bought it.
But Steve, the county, under my understanding of this roadway, the county road stopped at the bottom of the hill.
Yes, sir.
In the curve.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it's
So-
not.
No, let him.
It's this side on the cover, several feet.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying specifically right where, but at the bottom of the hill in the sharp curve to the left
Yes, sir.
is where our road stops.
Yes, sir.
Right? So this section that we're talking about stopping maintenance on is from the cattle guard to the bottom of the hill, basically,
Yes,
right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and so your farm, your property line then goes beyond that, I mean, several hundred feet
That's correct.
before you ever even get to your property. So there has never been a county road that went all the way and touched your property.
No, it has not. That's correct. That's correct. I
and so-
start with the right of way, which there's a lot of roads like that in the county. So,
Yeah.
as far as, the county maintenance stops, and then you might have somebody has a farm, 2 farms back.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, I don't understand why we just don't keep on rocking the road. It's not that much of a road.
Yeah. Well, there's liability. I mean, there's more to it than just how much you spend on rock. And I'll just say that I'm never going to talk out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to being an elected official. When we have financial challenges, when we have things that are costing this community and this county fiscal court a lot of money, I mean, we're going to turn over every rock and make sure that we're spending taxpayer dollars appropriately, no matter how much it is.
I understand. I'm a spendthrift.
And your perception is it's a little money, but how many of those rocks go down on county roads that's a little bit of money that adds up to a lot?
Yes, sir. Well, and on that same note, I'm all about saving money, but you on the other hand is, you pay taxes. The only benefit that I see, the primary benefit I see from taxes is the roads. I mean, there's also the safety concerns. You want good police protection, stuff like that, but roads is right up there in the top 1, 2, and like I said, I could argue that it's number 1. And I bought the property with this maintenance and the county road, and I'm not asking you to give me anything. I'm just asking you not to take something away that I bought and basically paid for. I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and I hope I'm making sense, or maybe I'm not, but it's just nobody should want to give up anything that's provided as far as.
So both of your farms down there
Yes,
are
sir.
assessed combined at $58,000 is what you pay taxes on?
Yes, sir.
Which breaks down to the fiscal court gets $41.89 a year.
How much?
$41.89 a year is what the fiscal court gets.
Oh, what you get? Okay.
What I
yes,
get.
pay.
You pay about
Right.
$590 is what you pay in property tax.
And that's great. But if you look at other properties I got, it's close to $6,000 that I pay in taxes. And so why don't you take some of that money and apply it to the road?
Which I mean, again, I don't want to split hairs here, but
yeah.
property taxes is really not the revenue stream for roads. That's fuel
I understand.
tax.
I understand fuel tax.
But just putting a number of property taxes to what you pay versus, what you can, I mean,
No, I
$41 is not a whole lot of money.
Right,
I mean,
right. No, I understand that. And then maybe, this is something that you need to pursue as far as if you're not got enough money for something. I don't like the idea of raising taxes, but, you all got operating expenses. But to keep these services up, things aren't getting cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, anyway, I hope that you.
Tom, anybody else got any other questions?
Going along with what Steve said, and this is what irritates me, is that the gravel road, we talk about them all the time. They're in a hotter issue. It takes so much time. It's less than 0.5% of our total county budget, what we spend on gravel roads. About 2.5%, 3% of the road fund budget, but yet we get more. It's like it's open season on gravel roads, and it bothers me. I mean, it's a sensitive, personal issue on these county roads, and it's just a service we provide. No, it doesn't pay for itself, but people expect them, and it just bothers me that we just keep hammering and taking, it's open season on gravel roads around here.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
I don't know why you can't budget for it. I just don't. I don't understand that if for something, $75,000 and just keep taking taken away, and then under the guise that, well, it's saving taxpayers money. Well, you had this coming into it. We knew it. Like I said, I bought the property with it, and then just to say, hey, we're just going to take it away.
Judge,
I was clearing trees off too. So he was mentioning just I had Wallace, buddy of mine, he mentioned Hornsby. I had Wallace down there cutting off trees. So it's act like I.
right. And I appreciate those comments, Steve. I still come back to the fact that we've actually got a request from a landowner to discontinue. Is that correct?
Not
To
just
stop
one landowner.
maintenance.
Yeah, stop maintenance. That's what I'm saying.
There's 3 farms there.
So,
All the owners is here. And we
but my
all
point
agree.
is, so this is really a landowner issue, not a court issue.
Well, the court has to stop the maintenance of it.
Right, but we're being requested by a landowner to do so.
Yeah.
And then it's in conflict with what Steve believes. But yet,
And a landowner to continue, to want to discontinue.
Which, and I think there's more to this than a financial piece too. I mean, there's state law, there's KRS law that
Right.
specifies if you haven't worked on a road in so many years, if it doesn't have a public purpose, that you shouldn't be maintaining roadways, and so I think some of this falls into that as well, especially when you've got a cattle guard across the county road at the top of the hill. How many county roads have cattle guards across them?
Well, we
it
just-
should be.
we just in Bethel Branch, because of a cattle guard, we just discontinued service going on the very end of Bethel Road where there's 3 property owners because we're required by the state to do so.
Well, on the cattle guard, first of all, I had nothing to do with that. Mr. Dargavel, they put that in, and because he got into it with the judge exec prior, because they were going to blacktop all the way down, and he didn't want to do it. I was never included in the conversation, or they would have probably went on and blacktopped it. So that cattle guard, if that's the problem, I'll have it removed at my own expense. Phil will put the gravel in, and if that's the only reason, that's no problem. The next dry spell, I can have it removed, and I'll do that at my expense.
But I don't think it's yours, is it, Steve?
What's that?
The cattle guard.
The cattle
Is it
guard is not.
yours?
No, I'll return it to them. It's the road. The road is the county's, or it
So,
was.
any other questions for them? We've heard testimony from both parties here. Is there any other questions for them? All right, thank you all very much.
Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Let me think for a second. I do have another question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vesio, do you access your property at all from Jackson Branch?
Very rarely. You can shut Jackson Branch down, but that's going to landlock me on another piece of property I got, because it's only, that other 70 acres is only legally accessed from Jackson Branch.
Where's your utilities come from?
I don't got utilities up there.
You don't have electric?
Nope.
You don't have water?
Nope, I got water. Yeah.
But you could
And
give
the what?
yourself access through your other piece if you needed to for that 70 acres.
Yes, but I don't, not legally. In other words, I could access it, but it's not legally. So if
No, I'm saying you could give yourself access legally.
if you keep Hayden Heights open, I can.
But
If you,
I don't understand that, because if you have a legal access down Hayden Heights
right, yes,
to
sir.
go through Mr. Dargavel's property to get to your farm,
Yes, sir.
you've already got a legal right of way.
That's correct.
All right, then what we're doing here doesn't change anything.
Well,
You still would have
it mentions the road. It mentions the road that I go out through a right of way through them, and then it mentions to the county road, Hayden
Right,
Heights.
but you would still have access to it for what we're doing. If right now it says in your deed that you've got an easement from your property down to that sharp curve to the left,
It does
Right.
not say that.
Right.
It ain't in there.
Yeah.
There's no easement in there to his property. There's none. He's got access to Jackson Branch. There's never been.
There is an easement in there. You're wrong.
Is there an easement in there?
It's right in my. It's right in my.
well,
I knew this was going to happen. That's
well, this here is getting into a civil issue,
yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
I hope it don't come to that, but it might.
And so So all we're doing, we're not changing anything for you, Steve. If
Okay.
you have got a legal right-of-way to go use Hayden Heights and go through Mr. Dargavel's property to get
Okay.
to your farm, what we're doing here is not changing that. You
Okay.
still have that right-of-way and you still have that access.
Okay, I'm hoping that's the case. I'm trusting you because the.
Well, I know it is. We
Well-
can't, what we're doing doesn't change anything that you already legally have a right to in your deed.
Because my concern was it says you're actually closing the road by the KRS, the way I read it. It doesn't say maintenance. It
We're
says
stopping
you're
maintenance. That's
discontinuing.
another,
Discontinuance of maintenance of it being a county road. It's discontinuance of it being a county road.
Disc-
Doesn't mean it's not a road. The statute specifically says it's still a road. It still allows for public access.
never-
It still allows for
Oh.
stuff. It's not a county road. The county's responsible for maintaining it.
Okay, I've never heard of a road being a road without maintenance, but you know, it becomes abandoned land. But okay, so
Subdivisions, their homeowners association maintain their roads because they're not within the county. Certain subdivisions may not be within county roads depending on how a subdivision's set up. There's a variety of different roads depending on who would maintain it and who's responsible. State roads, you've got your state roads, your city, but you're also going to have private roads that are just within landowners to be responsible.
I understand that, but
The statute is clear on that part.
I've kind of lost me on the subdivision because we have I live in a subdivision that county.
I didn't say all of them.
Okay.
I just said some subdivisions are responsible for maintenance of their own roads.
There are a few, Steve.
like Boone's Trace, you know, it's private. Like, that's a good
Yeah.
example.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is stopping maintenance. So
Okay.
the county will maintain basically to the cattle guard or to the end of the blacktop if we approve this today, and then, but you still have access all the way down. There's whole nother process to actually close the road and then give that land back to the property owners.
Okay. Now is that
Whether it be multiple property owners or one.
now is that the property owners that just to join that road, or is it the ones that have deeded access ways to?
So if you have a deeded access, we wouldn't be able to do it unless you agreed to it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have a legal access, then all parties involved would have to come together and make sure that there's plats created and proper access to people's property. But if you do not have a right-of-way through there right now
Right.
in this, then you would be in agreement between you and Mr. Dargavel whether you would be allowed to come in and out that way.
Say that again.
If you don't have a right-of-way,
Oh yeah, I got it right. Okay. That's no
if you
problem.
don't have one, then it would be an agreement between you and Mr. Dargavel whether you would be able to use that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I got a question. You said you did a title search, and you said where was his deeded roadway?
Well, he didn't do a title
I
search.
didn't do a title search. I just pulled the deeds, what's off of the PVA website.
No, it says Hayden Heights.
Well, he can't give legal advice.
Yeah,
which is
right.
What's about to happen. I can tell him he can't give legal advice. There are multiple deeds. The statute says if a county road has been discontinued under the maintenance provisions of KRS 17807 then by joint petition, all private parties entitled to necessary access to the road shall be closed to the public use, but remain open in accordance with its conditions of use for the access of the private parties involved.
Okay.
Or by a joint petition, and this is if you guys want to go through and close it out, then you have to do it by joint petition. Because all parties entitled to necessary access, the road shall revert to the owners. You all have to do that petition to make that determination. I don't have my microphone on. So I don't like speaking in fiscal court.
We're discontinuing maintenance, or we're not discontinuing?
So
They got it
we're
right.
discontinuing maintenance. If you all want to then determine that you're going to close this road to all public access, you all have to go into and do a joint petition and have that determine who would be the owner of that property and where that property would revert back to. And you get to be included because by statutory definition, you're a necessary party. You have necessary access.
And that would include. He mentioned a gate to you all. That's not necessarily. You can just put a gate up.
That is for not a fiscal court to
Yes,
decide,
well,
that is
that's
for
all
a
I want-
judicial
that's all I
court
need
to
to know.
decide.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I got one
Thank
more.
you all very
I have
much.
one more comment. Thank you all. You've been very
Appreciate it.
helpful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, I understand why that we're discontinuing maintenance on the roads, and the the one that was that the last time we did it was in the 4th District was a prime example. It was a road that we discontinued maintenance on. I went from one end of it to the other end of it. And I'm telling you right now, you'd be lucky if you get a horse up and down that darn road. It was just that bad. But yet folks wanted to keep that road, well, they wanted to keep the maintenance up on that road, which is just, I mean, it's ludicrous to think about when they're in that kind of condition. The only thing that I want the court to consider when we go forward and we bring roads up to discontinue is the property owners and how the property owners are associated with these roads, and what the cost is that we're putting on to these property owners to keep a road up. That for me is the only issue. You know, Mr. Vesio said that for the Jackson branch that, you know, he was okay if we stopped the maintenance on that. Well, we only spent $700 in the last some amount of time. I don't know what the time frame was, but $700 on that road anyway. But just to use that as the example, that's $700 that we would be turning over and putting on to a property owner. I'm not so sure that that's the right thing to do in the future. This is a different case. I'm just saying in the future, you know, that's something I want to know. I want to know what the dollar figure is on these roads that we're passing off to property owners, if that's what we choose to do.
Tom, I don't think you can put a dollar figure on it because the publications that I'm getting from Rich Ornstein and from Keiko, their advice is that if we do not close that road, you and I went down a road yesterday, Jackson Branch. All right, I wouldn't take a four-wheeler down it.
Yeah.
If they take razors down that road and they flip them and they get hurt on that road,
Yeah.
we're liable.
Right.
So our protection to get rid of these roads is what Keiko is advising us, the reason we should be getting these roads off the books. Not necessarily, it is a, you know, money factor for some of them, but some of them is just strictly a liability issue.
I'm glad you brought that up, Scott, because we've got a conference. I don't know how many of us are going to the conference coming up next week, but I was going to encourage, if you see Rich Ornstein, I mean, ask him. He's got stories statewide, you know, where the county ends up being liable when there's an accident for that same reason that you just spoke of there, Scott. So
Yes,
Steve,
You have
if
to
nobody
come to
can
the
hear you from the audience, and we have people watching.
I appreciate Master Barkins bringing that up, but I agree. There's some roads they should be closed. If the maintenance is maybe too high, or it's just, you know, a creek bed or a road that's not used, or somebody's at the end of a road and they don't want it maintained where it's not affecting anybody but them, yeah, close the road. But he mentioned something about razors. And Mr. Coyle can correct me on this, I don't even think that they're really supposed to, in the state of Kentucky, be on the roads, especially state roads. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I don't think that they're actually really supposed to be on the roads. You know, so I don't know if you'd be liable for that if they're technically not supposed to be on the roads, but that just use your example. But I still think we ought to keep these gravel roads up. It's a good road, plain and simple. And,
Thank you. All right, anything else?
As a note for the future, I would like for Rich to provide us, and maybe he's already done it, but I would like for Rich to provide us with a written guidance on the issue of the discontinuance and the closing the roads.
Well, I have a copy. I can give you, yes.
Because discontinuing the maintenance on the road's still on the county books. So
Right,
I
we're
know
not
we have
closing
an
it.
intent not to maintain it no more, but I want to know, do we have the legal issue? Is that road still legally
No,
ours?
because it's a public right of way. It's no longer a county road that we maintain. It still is a public right of way.
Well, Scott,
So we no longer
I'd like
have
to see that as
liability.
well.
Yeah, I can get you a
But I
copy
have
of that.
read that.
I think the last time we talked to Rich, he stated that doing this takes the liability away from the county.
Yeah, because Jackson Branch yesterday, we went down there, there's a washout. Well, right now, I'm liable for that washout. That's supposed to be maintained. So if they go down there and flip because there's a washout and I'm not maintained it, then I'm liable. So this gets us away from the liability of not keeping that road to a passable condition.
Excuse me, is there, I mean, I know where we as a court are headed, and I know the job that Scott's trying to do is to keep us and protect us. Is there any, because I still think it's between two property owners, is there any support to table this until next time so we could let the property owners work this out?
Well, I don't,
And that may not be the case. I'm just asking.
I don't see that it's going to change anything. I mean, if you looked at the map where the cattle guard is down the bottom of the hill, I mean, it doesn't change anything. Mr. Vecchio still having access to go down to where our county maintenance stops now. It's still public right of way. We're just saying we're not maintaining that gravel section that we haven't been maintaining anyway. I mean, it doesn't change the fact. I don't think the outcome's any different whether for whatever they work out.
I would have supported that, Steve, at tabling, but I found out what I needed to know from discussion with the owners.
So I think it would just prolong it. And we do have a motion and a second right now to approve resolution 2024-08 as written. So,
Call the roll.
so, any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Lockmiller? Sorry. Back it. Wrong one. Master Hughes?
No.
Master Biken?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmiller?
No.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. All right, thank you all, appreciate it. Next, resolution 2024-09, Regional Economic Development Partnership. Jill, read slow.
This is a resolution of the Madison County Fiscal Court regarding economic development partnership with Scott County, Madison County, City of Berea, City of Georgetown, City of Richmond, and Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the welfare of the people in Madison County, Kentucky, and whereas providing economic opportunity and growth is necessary for the welfare of the people of Madison County, Kentucky. And whereas Madison County Fiscal Court also recognizes that in the current economic development environment, opportunities for growth may be better realized by partnering with other local governments. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has voted previously to join Scott County, City of Berea, City of Georgetown, City of Richmond, and Lexington Fayette Urban County Government in purchasing and developing real estate for an industrial park and establishing a multi-county nonprofit industrial development authority. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has voted to designate the Madison County Judge Executive as its authorized representative and signatory for all matters related to the purchase and development of the property, and to establish the development authority referenced herein in satisfaction of KRS 65.240, Section 3. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to adopt a resolution setting forth that the Madison County Judge Executive is the authorized signer, so that this resolution can be submitted to any entity desiring to have written verification of what is set forth herein. And whereas KRS 154.05-340 authorizes the Madison County Fiscal Court to provide funds to the Multi-County Nonprofit Industrial Development Authority for industrial development. And now, therefore, be it hereby resolved by the Madison County Fiscal Court as follows: that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby appoint and designate the Madison County Judge Executive as its authorized representative for all matters relating to the development of a joint industrial park, a multi-county nonprofit industrial development authority with Madison County, Scott County, City of Berea, City of Georgetown, City of Richmond, and Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. That the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby resolve that the Madison County Judge Executive shall have the authority to sign any and all documents necessary and appropriate for the development of said industrial park and development authority without further consent of the Madison County Fiscal Court or the necessity of further action on behalf of the Fiscal Court. that the Madison County Fiscal Court adopts this resolution as an ongoing matter and affirmatively states that the authority granted to the Madison County Judge Executive here shall by continue without the necessity of further votes or actions of the Madison County Fiscal Court. However, this resolution and the authority granted herein is not and shall not be interpreted as authority to expend funds outside those funds designated for this development within the budget of Madison County Fiscal Court or any amendments thereto, that the Madison County Fiscal Court shall have the power to revoke the grant or of authority set forth herein by majority vote of the Fiscal Court. Be it further resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive and/or his designee to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Jill. Y'all heard Resolution 2024-09. What's the pleasure of the court?
Make a motion. Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, this is the way that we're going to survive in the future. We're always talking about ways to generate revenue. This is a way to generate revenue that helps us with all of the other issues. So it's a good thing. Everybody will receive a financial gain off of that depending on their portion that they put into it. And so it's a good thing.
I just think it's a prime example of how governments work together, and it's the way they should work together. This is a no-brainer, I think.
I would concur with both statements.
Well, it's a big endeavor. There's a lot of work to be done, but this is the first steps of something that's going to be great for many generations to come. So I appreciate y'all's support in this endeavor and allowing us to sort of check the box at each step of the way so that we can get it across the finish line. And look forward to the day that we have a big groundbreaking or whatever, some type of ceremony that really gets to publicly show what we're all doing together. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Buchan?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Chief, Resolution 2024-10, Disaster Aid Services. Good morning, buddy.
Morning. Resolution 2024-10. A resolution approving a master agreement for disaster aid services between the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Tetra Tech Incorporated. Whereas the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Tetra Tech, Inc. have entered into a master agreement contract to provide disaster aid services across the Commonwealth. Whereas Tetra Tech, Inc. shall provide the Commonwealth of Kentucky with disaster aid services required by the Kentucky Division of Emergency Management, KYM, of the Department of Military Affairs, DMA. And whereas Tetra Tech Incorporated will support the 2024 Chemical Stockpile Emergency Preparedness Program, CSEP, full-scale exercise in Madison County, Kentucky, under Tetra Tech's contract with the state of Kentucky, number MA 7582300001244. And whereas Madison County CSEP portion of the contract shall not exceed $50,515.00. Now therefore it be resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution, authorize the judge executive and/or his designee to negotiate and execute contract on behalf of the county.
Thanks, Chief. Resolution 2024-10. What's the pleasure of the court?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I only had one call that I needed to make, and that was the chief yesterday. The last pages 17 through 23 of this contract deals mainly with county issues, and the chief's all right with that as our as our EMA representative, so that's good.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmiller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Buchan?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you,
Appreciate
y'all.
it. Next is Employee Spotlight. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning. First time to get to present. It's good to see you up there.
So today I'm bringing the employee spotlight in front of the court, but I would like to take the time before I do this just to thank everybody. We had our first major weather event in Madison County, this last week or two, and this employee spotlight, it's brought forth by the peers, voted by the peers to bring out the employee that they feel standing out. Well, as a county resident, I'd like to thank, our road department and all of our first responders who have to deal with this first major weather event and everything that goes on with that. So just thank you, all of you that are there, and just let your people know that, as a resident, I appreciate the hard work you do.
But the employee spotlight that I'd like to present today is from our custodial staff, and it is Paula Smith. She's been with us for 8 years, and from her peers that was nominated, they wrote about Paula, said, Paula will greet you with a smile and is happy to lend a helping hand whenever you may need it. She takes her job very serious to ensure the buildings are clean each day. And that was from a colleague that was anonymous. Well, as you know, with the weather events, when you're coming in and out of the buildings, we have a lot more snow and salt and stuff like that. So I thought it was really, important to try to, bring the spotlight to, the things that you kind of take for granted every now and then. It's having a clean building, especially at these times with this weather. So I'd like to, thank Paula Smith for her hard work and dedication, and that is our employee for the employee spotlight.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Paula will spread a little salt herself around on the sidewalks and stuff, so we do appreciate Paula. Next, the judge's report. Just got a few announcements. Arcadian Cove is hosting a winter ball sock hop on Saturday, January 27th. That'll be this coming Saturday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The event is open to the public. There will be an Elvis impersonator, silent auction, barnyard barbecue, food truck, and more. So anybody interested in participating in that, Arcadian Cove, which is out off Duncannon. Redeeming Hope is hosting a Blue Heart dinner on Saturday, February the 10th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Boone Tavern in Berea. Join the Berea Arts Council for a reception on Friday, January 26th, to preview the items donated by artists from all over Kentucky for the upcoming annual Stepping Out for Art auction and fundraiser. The reception will be from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in their gallery at 444 Chestnut Street in Berea. Admission is free. Visit the Berea Arts Council Facebook page for more information. Whitehall State Historic Site presents a Clay Family Wedding Valentine's Tea on Saturday, February the 23rd at 6 p.m. Visit their Facebook page for more information and ticket reservations. And then just allowing everybody to prepare for a day that the county is going to be closed. All Madison County government-related offices will be closed on Monday, February the 19th, 2024, for the President's Day holiday. Offices will reopen on Tuesday, February the 20th at 8 a.m. That's the end of my report. Comments from Masters, Brian?
I just want to.
Actually, you know what?
Go ahead.
New year.
New year.
It's been a year.
Oh, yeah?
It starts with Steve.
I'm glad it's off my shoulders now.
Yeah.
I don't have to just start this.
It's been a year. Y'all help me remember. Starts with Steve.
Well, I want to continue and say I'm just happy to be here, happy to serve, and I only have one item, Judge. I want to thank Tom for, in my absence of being on vacation last week and then having an obligation where I had to run out of town yesterday. Tom carried a big ball and did a lot of research and a lot of stuff on the issue that was brought to us today, and I just want to personally thank him for taking the lead on that, and especially in my absence, since all this was in my district. I appreciate you, brother.
Welcome.
Thanks, Steve. Billy Ray.
Well, is anybody going to brag on the road department?
Don't steal my thunder.
Okay, I won't. Jill, I want to brag on Jill. Cause she studies so many issues, and she fields a lot of questions, and she's always well studied on issues, and I appreciate you doing that. I would ask you though, you got any update for us on the wireless expansion?
Well, just wait till department head comments.
Chris.
Okay.
I'm glad we could anticipate your needs.
Thank you.
You good? Is it Tom?
I just had a couple of things I wanted to talk about just a little bit. And the first question I had was for Kenny. In the new building where you're at down there, I see that there's still a cost in the budget for storage fees. Do you have place for all your storage now in the bottom of that building?
Still a cost in the budget for storage fees.
There's a
That should be a
there's a
revenue.
$120,000 line for storage, which $75,000 has been spent on it, which that's okay. Well, I mean, that's what we do. And so what I wanted to know is if could we expect in the future any of the storage fees to go away based on where you have your record now?
I don't know what that line is. You all aren't paying me anything. There is a document storage fee for each document we record that we got passed 2 or 3 years ago when we adjusted our fees for recordings as clerks, we're still the cheapest within every state that touched us. But that's money that's going in from our budget, and the county, the Judges Association and the Magistrate Association worked out with the Clerk Association. Instead of the clerk holding that money, fiscal court holds that money, and then they disperse the money for payments.
So what we have the clerk fund now. See, we used to not have a clerk fund.
Right.
But we actually have a clerk fund now.
Good, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
so that's money that we're taking in. It's going into fiscal court so they can hold it. So clerks couldn't hoard a bunch of money up and spend on things they shouldn't. And that's paying for our, mostly is software. Software, books, and paper is what that money's going for.
Good.
So it's not money coming out of the county budget.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Sure.
Judge, as we go forward, I think it would be prudent for the court, since the majority of them wasn't here, to know how our energy savings program is going. You're the only one really that has the grip. You deal with those contractors, and maybe at the next court we can get some idea. I mean, we base that on a 15-year return to pay for itself.
Mm-hmm. So we might not be, Tom, but I'll take your recommendation and I'll present when the time is correct.
Okay, sure.
I think February makes it a year.
Okay.
And they want to calculate like a whole year, paint a whole picture. There's actually, I think, a visit tomorrow.
Good.
With Perfection Group. I think it was the 24th, wasn't it? Where they'll be going around to all the buildings, doing and basically putting together kind of what that whole year picture looks like. And so as soon as I get that information back, I'd be glad to present that to the fiscal court, or even maybe have somebody from Perfection Group come in and show that rate of return and how it's working.
Good. I appreciate that. Just another comment. We spent $96,000 this month sending our prisoners to other counties to lighten the load over in our jail, and that's worked. We've got money to pay for that. So to Billy Ray's point and all the rest of his point, Scott, I want to thank you and your crew there for this snow event. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours, especially when it's, multiple days like that. You don't just have a Friday or a Saturday or a Saturday and Sunday. Man, we strung them out. You've been a week of no sleep over there. And we certainly appreciate everything those guys do over there for us. They don't get enough credit for things like that. I'd also like to personally thank you for taking me out there and letting me see the roads where we were at on Hayden Heights and Jackson Breast, to Steve's comment over there. We don't have to do that. But for me personally, it makes a lot of difference if you know when you're wanting to do something to the road. For me, it helps if you know what road you're talking about, what it actually looks like. So anyway, I appreciate you going out there, even though we about got the county truck stuck. So, but anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see, Judge, anything else? Oh, yeah, if anybody needs me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Appreciate you. Brian.
All right, I get the tail end today.
That's right.
The first thing I want to do is wish my mother a happy birthday. I don't know if she's watching or not, but I appreciate her. I know we've talked a lot about gravel roads today and probably don't need to talk any more about it, but I think one thing we need to do as a court is make sure we're consistent. Because this, when we're not, it generates problems for property owners. In other words, a situation out in Red Lick where for years and years, people referenced a private road as a county road. And then now it's in court and being litigated civilly. So it's important for us to be, consistent with what we do in every road, not just pick and choose roads that.
Is that Copper's Branch you're talking about?
So it's just important for us to be consistent. Again, thank Scott and his crew. Every call I got was good about county roads, and except for the calls that people were calling about state roads. And we appreciate Scott and their team and his team and what they do, and always getting back with us and letting us know what's going on. Other than that, Judge, just glad to be here.
Glad you're here. Counselor, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Kenny?
Cavis, we're still plugging along with Cavis. They're fixing bugs. We're having, it's still in our way, to say the least, but it's improving. We ask people to be patient with us. We're confronting new things every day. Our dealer work, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, getting caught up on our dealer work. That's been one of our major backups, but luckily I've got folks that are willing to come in early and work late and try to
What
keep
about
everybody
the
taken care
online
of.
registration? Can you do that?
I checked yesterday. It looked like it was working, but I got an email from constituent that said they couldn't get on and renew. So we're checking on it this morning to make sure we're still turned on. But it looked fine to me when I went to the state's website.
Thank you for driving as well.
Sure.
You're part, when all these comments come in, part of the road department.
No, I'm not
during
good
the
enough.
snow event.
I'm
during
not
the
good
snow
enough to be
event, you're
included with the
part
road
of that
department.
road department team for driving a truck, so we
Road
appreciate
department's way too high up
Yeah.
there.
The only comment, Judge, that I had on the snow event was on Plantation Drive.
No, you didn't get one Plantation Drive. We got one from Hilltop Acres.
I'd just like to say that the owner was incorrect on what he had called me about. Kenny, thank you very much for taking care of Plantation
Oh, I
Drive.
thought you were joking. That's the one that I forgot first time I went out.
That may explain it. I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah. Sheriff, you got anything? You good? All right. Comments from department heads. Chris, I think you're going to give us an update today on our Spectrum project.
Good, because you don't have forever.
Do what?
I said good, because you don't have forever.
Well, let's see here. Just kidding. Before we start, I'll just say a special thanks to all of the IT employees who worked hard over the week, the snowstorm as well, doing tracks. Morris had to kind of step in when Clay left us at the end of there and kind of get those routes and stuff. So special thanks to Mo, and Austin came right in before the first snow. So that was huge. He was able to kind of get us through there and make some needed updates. So thanks to those guys. This is from January 2024. We met with them in a virtual meeting to talk about where we were with Connect Madison and kind of what that looks like. So this will be just a brief update to where we stand today. The RDOF project was supposed to do 1,077 customers. KDBF, which was the state funding, was to do 1,284, and the local dollars were to do 2,244. You can see as of January 2024, 1,187 people have been activated through the RDOF money. There's 193 pending. What's good news there for folks is that they only saw 1,077, but they've actually connected more than what they anticipated, so that's good for us. That's reassurance that if you're out there, we're going to find you and get you service. We're not going to leave anybody behind. That has been the goal from day one, is to make sure everybody has access to it. Just some quick statistics. RDOF provided 162.7 miles of fiber and came across 2,006 electric or telephone poles or whatever it may have been. KDBF is slated to do 1,284. They have not actually activated any of those at this point. They're still waiting on pole permit attachments to go through, which we'll talk about, and that'll be 159 miles of fiber. The local grant will do 2,244, and none of those have been activated as either, and they're currently working on construction plans there. So if you look here, it's kind of a little diagram. RDOF has completed all the way through the permits, and they're trying to close the last 106 in the construction phase. Once they complete construction, those poles will go away, and they'll have activated all those folks. The KDBF project is through the design phase, and they're in the permitting process and the pole process. We've got a meeting with the pole owners here within the next couple of weeks or so to kind of help them along and try to, show the importance of how bad we need the pole permits to go through. It's just a big task. It's not against the pole owners by any stretch of imagination. Just in Madison County, they got 2,733 permits. If that pole's bent, won't hold the weight load, doesn't have enough room, whatever it may be, all that has to be make ready and redone by those companies. So it is a long process, but we're going to try to see what we can do to help. So that's where they are there. They have actually completed the sizing of the local. What that means is they basically know where they have to go and who's going to be included in it, and they're currently walking that. So when they do any of this, they physically walk the roads and see the addresses and find the houses. That's what they're doing currently. Once they get that done, then they'll come back in the design. They'll actually be able to tell us exactly how many folks will be included in that one as well. And this is probably what everybody wants to see, because this is what everybody calls for, right? When's my time? Where am I at inside of it? A note on the document that we got from them the last time was that gray area is currently their current service area, but they're actually going through there, and they're going to enhance that service in those areas as well. So multi-gigabit speeds will be coming to the gray areas in their current footprint, and I think in there it said it'd be done by the end of 2025. So if you've already got, that was a great part of this kind of whole project, was that when Spectrum stepped in, you're not only getting fiber to the home to these folks that didn't have internet, they're actually enhancing the services inside the existing footprint, which is great. So you'll start to see multi-gig speeds available to those folks as well. So green means we've completed them, and if you look, RDOF's most of those were on the western, eastern sides of the county there in the green areas, and some of that is still pending, as we talked about a little bit there. Orange is construction is pending, but permit approvals, and red is they're in the preliminary design phase. So you can kind of get a look there. We've asked them this morning if they can send this to in a shapefile so we can stick it on top of an online map so you can type your address in and kind of see where you fall. Because there's a lot of folks that probably can't, I don't think I could, look at that and pinpoint where I live in that map. So we're going to ask them for that layer, put it on our website where you'll be able to type your address in and get a good guesstimation of where you are inside that footprint as to whether or not you're done, you're almost done, or you just out of luck at this time. So pretty good progress from them, I would say. I'm pretty pleased with where we're at from that, and hopefully we can help them move this pole attachment process across, because that's really the lengthiest part of all of this. Any
I think
questions
that's been the
pertaining to
biggest-
that?
That's been the biggest hurdle, is getting pole permits approved.
Even though it was in the early phase, that started out, RDOF actually started several years ago. I'm glad to see, Chris, that a lot of those greens are in the 4th District, so.
We didn't have anything to do with it, I guess. But we'll take the credit anyways.
Any other questions from Masters?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Appreciate the update. And then whenever you get that layer on the maps, if you'll send it out to everybody, and then that way we'll all help sort of market it so people know. Any other department heads? Anybody else? All right. Comments from the audience? Sure.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Adkins, 2221 Kentucky River Road. I'm here to discuss problems I'm having with a short-term rental business that is at the end of my road. Of course, more traffic problems this past weekend, of course. I had 8 vehicles down there, and of course at checkout, apparently they were kids that were dropped off because I had them leave and then come back on the next day at checkout. So I had a line of cars sitting in front of my house, using my road and my field to turn around in. So it's just becoming a problem. It has been a problem for a long time now, and I'm just asking for help. We can't, I mean, it's a one-lane dead-end road, and we cannot have a business at the end of it. I don't understand how we can't get these permits should have never been issued for the land use change. So what can be done? What else do I need to do?
Well, right now, we've actually reached out to the landowner just to get some history, his occupancy rate. I know that I know that we have received that from Bert. We're looking at both sides. We're gathering information. I know you've sent me some stuff.
Yes, I sent you the petitions.
You've sent me specific situations, pictures of RVs and all that. So I'm compiling some stuff right now to see, again, we govern for the whole county. We don't govern for specific issues.
Right. No, I understand.
And sometimes it gets into it's a civil matter, not necessarily a fiscal court matter.
Okay.
When situations are happening all over the county that are similar to this, then that's when we really look at it. But I am looking at your situation.
Okay. All right.
And I'm collecting. I want to collect both sides. I want to get facts from both sides, and then we'll see if the fiscal court, if that's something the fiscal court needs to act on, or if we feel like that it's not, that it becomes a civil matter between you and that property owner.
Okay. What kind of time frame is on this? I mean.
Well, I was actually supposed to meet with Bert yesterday
Okay.
because just in preparation, because I felt like that you would be here today.
I will.
But I wasn't able to. We had too many things that popped up yesterday, and I couldn't get my meeting with Bert. And so I plan on having that meeting with him today, this afternoon.
Okay. Because, I mean, we do agree that this is a business. I mean, the IRS, the Kentucky Supreme Court, everyone says that an Airbnb or Verbo is a business. So that we have to agree that this is a business.
Well, I'm not going to agree. I mean, I'll let our legal counsel and other people agree to that. I'm not going to agree to that.
Okay.
Because I think that there's other documentation out there that says that it's not. Yes, it's a business operating it, but the business is not operating in that specific location.
Okay, because we had 11 plus people down there. Of course, one arrived at midnight, so of course I don't know how many people were in that vehicle, but it was a van. So, and of course I had an RV 2 weeks before with 2 other vehicles. So, one lane road, so much traffic,
But, yeah, right. Yeah, I understand your concern, but that is a public road.
Right.
So anybody that wants to can drive down that road and turn
Right.
around and come back out,
Right.
you know.
But it is a public one-lane road, but in the county, so I just don't understand why there could be a business there, you know, operating a short-term rental, excuse me, a short-term rental. So, okay.
Okay.
All right, so there is going to be a discussion. When can I expect, do you have a time frame of an estimate to hear something?
I mean, we can, I mean, I can't give you an exact
Right.
time, but I can try to respond to you or have Bert respond to you,
Okay.
you know, maybe in the next week. I mean,
Okay.
once we take your information, the information they're giving, and see the direction we're going to go.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Darrell Atkins, 2221 Kentucky River Road. It was that road had more salt trucks on it than it's had in the last 4 or 5 years in one night. Is that because we're catering to the Airbnb?
No.
Is it
Scott,
not?
Scott can address that.
That's absolutely not correct. What we've done, we've reevaluated our roads. As y'all know, we've assessed them all. We've assigned a special truck, and you can ask him what type of truck was down there. It was a pickup truck that we've currently acquired for a type of road like that. Has nothing to do with who's down there, who's not down there. You know, that's offensive, and you know, I really don't even appreciate your comment.
That road, that road,
It had
that-
Petco on the side of it, the triax, or one of them was.
Well, that's not our truck, that's a state truck.
I don't know.
Well, I do know.
But he was sitting there asleep. I went down, had to go down and pay 2.5 hours listening to that thing rattle.
Well, if you're gonna make comments, let's pull up to the
Two and a half
mic.
hours listening to this thing rattle in front of your house.
And it was a Pico truck?
It was.
All right, so that's a state truck, because they contract with them, and we have nothing to do with that, because that guy's
Well,
probably
They were
done.
running the pickup, and that road was slick as a pin, even though Jacks Creek wasn't. It hadn't been touched, but ours was slick as a pin.
Well, that's because Jacks Creek's a state road.
we don't have.
We don't plow a state road.
Actually, I think that, Scott, your crew did a good job, because that's a very dangerous road. And, so I happen to disagree, because we want to make sure that the citizens can get out of there in case there's an emergency.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thankful, Scott, that our road department clears our roads, and that Kentucky River Road was clear, so that it was safer for you all to get in and out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, and we also have GPS devices on all of our trucks, and so as far as speculation, the speculation of false information, I mean, we can back it up and prove that what time, how long that our truck was on there. So thank you very much. And I don't need any other comments this time. We have any Facebook comments? No. All right. All right. Let's see. Department heads, audience comments. Pay the claims and approve the transfers. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Master Lockmuller?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Was there any Facebook comments, Judge?
No, there was none.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed it.
Next meeting is February the 13th, 2024. That'll be at 9:30 a.m. back at Berea City Hall at their council chambers. Again, that meeting will be February 13th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Master Lockmuller?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.